Alright guys, so in today's video, I want to go over 5 of the best duo drop spots in Chapter 5 Season 4. The season did recently release, and with this new season, there's going to be a bunch of new map changes. There's going to be 4 new named POIs in a new biome, and within all these new map changes, I want to go over 5 of the best duo drop spots for you guys. Please understand that in this season, not too many actual small unnamed POIs were added. It was pretty much just the big named POIs that were added with some small biome changes. So this video may feature some POIs that were in the seasons past. However, they are still very viable, and they actually have more attributes now that they're closer to the new named POIs of this season. But let's get right into it. Alright guys, so right now I'm dropping into the first duo drop spot of this video. This is going to be this new Volcano tower that's really close to Castle Doom over there. This is a very new drop spot that came out with this season, so this is one of the few new POIs areas. And the really good benefit of this POI is that it's going to be really small, and it's not really going to be a really hot drop because not too many people are actually going to be aiming for here. Some people will be going towards Castle Doom area and the other named POIs, however nobody's really going to be aiming for here, I don't believe. I played a couple of games in this season and not too many people have actually aimed to land here. Some people have been here after they've landed at Castle Doom or other named POIs, but nobody's ever actually been to this POI from my experience in the season so far. That may change, we don't know for sure. So something that I want to show you guys about this POI is that there is lava, so if you do step in the lava, it actually does burn you, which is something you want to be wary of because you don't want to just lose health for no reason. And like I said, this place doesn't really have that many chests. There's very few chests, very few floor spawns, so the way I'd recommend you play this POI is you loot up, you get everything that you have in here, all those chests, you farm these little metal materials right here, and then afterwards I recommend you guys use this to rotate out and go to a different POI where you can get more loot. Now this is going to be kind of an interesting strategy because of the way that this POI works. What you're going to have to do is you're going to go over here and then fly out, and there's a bunch of different places you guys can go to. You could go all the way over to Reckless Railways, you could go down here to Rescue Station, you could also go over towards Grand Glacier, or you can go towards Castle Doom. My recommendation in general is for you guys to go over towards Rescue Station, or if you guys want to go somewhere more low-key, this little tower right here has a little bit of loot that you guys can use for duos. So I'd recommend you guys just go over here, you can farm this area for some quick brick. There's one chest over here, and then you guys can obviously rotate upwards, loot the rest of this little area. Now you guys need to understand this is a very low loot amount POI, so you're not going to really be having that much loot in this POI. The whole point of it is that you're going to be landing really quickly and then rotating out within around 1 minute. The reason for that is it's going to have you guys get out of that new biome a lot quicker than if you guys were to land at a bigger POI. But in general, I think this is a really solid way to play a kind of on the run sort of duos playstyle that you guys are dropping, and I recommend you guys land here if you're looking to play a playstyle of that sort. Alright guys, so this next drop spot right here isn't actually a new POI, it's going to be something that was in the previous seasons, but the reason I'd recommend it to you guys is because it's so close to a lot of the new POIs, and I think it's a really solid spot for duos considering that it has a decent amount of loot. This is going to be called the Old Mill. It's a really solid drop spot if you guys are looking to land somewhere that has a good amount of loot in a small amount of area. It's going to just pretty much be a small little house. You guys can rotate around the area as well and also get some loot. But what I recommend you guys do is you land at this POI, guys. I'd recommend you don't really land too far apart from each other. You guys should just land on the house together. Ideally land in the same part of the house if you are contested. And then genuinely what I'd recommend you guys do, the first thing that you should prioritize at this POI is getting max materials as quick as possible. You guys can obviously farm the surrounding areas for wood and brick. There's going to be plenty of rocks around the area. There's going to be plenty of trees around the area. Metal is a little bit harder to find in this area. However, what you guys can easily do is rotate over to a named location and then farm metal there. Or you can just try to farm all the little metal things around the area. There are going to be some things in the house that will contain metal, like these little trees. Areas in the house such as the kitchen or, other areas that have a lot of metal, those are places you're going to want to go towards. If you're able to do that, you're going to stock up on metal pretty quickly, and you're also going to have a fair amount of loot because this house is fairly quickly and easy to loot. Essentially what that means is that you guys can be out of this POI if you're uncontested within probably a minute or two if you guys loot it correct. Once again, since this is duo drop spots, I'd recommend you guys do try to loot it as quick as possible by having an efficient loot route. And two things that are also beneficial, you guys can obviously catch the train, and when you guys go over here, there's going to be the new Doom chest that you guys can loot easily as well. You probably will have to kill some of the Latvian grunts. This will give you guys really easy loot if you want to use it. You can get their burst assault rifles really easily as well. But these are some really big benefits of why to land at this POI. Alright guys, so this next spot is an unnamed location that has been in the game for this whole chapter. This is going to be a place called Piney Lane. It's going to be an island towards the north section of the map. And the reason I chose this island is because I genuinely think that the amount of loot that's on this island is pretty good. And also it's really close to the new POIs. It's near that new biome. You guys can easily land here and then loot and get all of the attributes of this POI and then rotate over to new named locations on the actual map. What I recommend you guys do is land separately on 2 separate parts of the island. You and your duo should split it and then loot them separately. I gotta be honest with you, it's unlikely that you guys will be contested here considering how small this island actually is and how far from the center of the map it is. That's pretty much the only problem with it, is that it can be tough to rotate it sometimes, considering that it's really tough for you guys to actually make it to the center of the map if you don't have mobility. But luckily the season has a fair amount of mobility, and I think you guys can easily rotate if you guys practice. Another big benefit is the vast amount amount of brick and wood that you guys have on this map. As you can see, there's tons of rocks that you guys can farm, tons of brick and wood you guys can farm. There's also going to be shield mushrooms, so if you guys eat all the shield mushrooms, it's likely that you guys won't actually need to pop shield normally, and you can save a lot of meds and shield for the later parts of the game. Another big benefit is that you guys can fish if you want to. It's near the water. Fishing is something that I feel like a lot of people have overlooked in these past couple seasons. It's a really valuable way to get items and stuff. I know there's obviously no fishing holes specifically in the area. It's unlikely for them to be too many. However, you guys can still fish for miscellaneous items, guns, whatever it may be. Another really good thing is you guys can obviously rotate over to that house on top of the hill. You guys can use the zip line, you can use mobility, whatever it is, it's easy for you guys to rotate over there and get some even more loot. There's metal crates right here that you guys can use to farm metal. There's even a reboot van for the duos if you guys do get eliminated somehow. But the reason I recommend this POI is considering how big it actually is, there's going to be a good amount of loot. It's going to be pretty easy to loot it pretty quickly. Like I said, if you guys are efficient and you learn the loot route, you guys can loot this POI pretty much within 1 to 2 minutes. You can rotate over to this house and then continue what you guys were doing before. You can rotate over to this house and then continue with the rest of your game plan. So I definitely recommend this for you guys if you're looking for a place to rotate that's not going to be very contested, but that has good loot and also has access to the new POIs. As you can see, there's going to be Doomstot over there, and then obviously Doom's Courtyard is going to be over there, and then Doom Castle in the distance. A really solid POI. I definitely recommend it. So this next POI, guys, is going to be a location that's been in the game for quite some time. Once again, this is going to be Ship It Station. If you guys remember, this is actually where Mongrel and Mr. Savage have landed the past couple of seasons, and there's a really good reason for it. This POI has so much loot in such a small amount of area. It's honestly unbelievable how much stuff is actually here. If you guys land here, there's going to be plenty of chests, tons of metal from all of these different items and stuff you guys can farm. There's going to be brick and metal from the floors. There's also going to be a bunch of different chests in the very small amount of area. So for example, I have this chest right here. I can get this weapon, and then I can easily just walk downstairs. Under this stair, there's going to be more chests. You guys can loot that really quickly if you learn where all the chest spawns are. Another big benefit is that it's really close to the new POI, the Raft. Because it's so close, you guys can push there as a duo and you can get the elimination on to Emma Frost in order to get her mythic burst and her medallion. And like I said, because there's so many chests, it's unlikely that you're going to be walking out of here with bad loot. Even as a duo, I think it's unlikely you guys will be having bad loot when you leave this POI. Especially considering the fact that there are some slurp barrels, you guys can save on some shield. And since there's so much metal and brick and wood around the area, it's unlikely that you guys will have to go anywhere else to actually farm. Because of that, I'd recommend this POI to anybody who wants to land somewhere close to a new POI that isn't in that sort of new northern biome area. And you guys can also rotate really easily over to this little house right here, and then after that you can rotate over to the tunnel, and then of course the Raft if you guys choose to go that direction. Once again, this is one of my favorite POIs for duos in the current game. I definitely recommend you guys land here. And then guys, as per usual, I like to finish off these videos with a named location that has been added in the new season. Today's for duos is going to be the Raft. Once again, I'd recommend any of the named locations to you guys. The reason that I'm picking the Raft though is I genuinely think that if you guys learn this POI really well, you can loot it and also survive at it really easily. So obviously this is going to be very contested compared to the other POIs that I went over in this video. It's unlikely that you're going to be uncontested here pretty much ever in a ranked or competitive tournament game. But once again, the benefits are going to be the vast amount of loot, the slurp barrels, the materials, the medallion, the mythic weapon. Basically, you just have to defeat Emma Frost in order to get the mythic burst assault rifle and then also the reveal medallion. Essentially what that does is it reveals players around you, and there's going to be plenty of doom chests where you guys can get really good loot. There's going to be plenty of materials. As you can see, the whole thing is built out of metal, so it's going to be really easy to get that. But the main way I'd recommend you guys play this POI as a duo is, of course, since you're going to be contested, I'd recommend you guys land in the same spot of the map. Like I said, I'd recommend you land kind of near this cell block because there's going to be a bunch of chests in all the different cells that you guys can get. As soon as you guys are able to get a lot of loot very quickly, I think that you guys will be able to easily win a lot of fights after you get a good amount of loot. Once again, I'd recommend your guys' primary focus be eliminating the guards as quick as possible. And the reason for that is so that they don't try to third party you and your fights, which can be a problem genuinely. And of course, once you guys get to that point where you're full health, full shield, you've eliminated other opponents on this map, I'd recommend you guys do try to go for Emma Frost, which you guys can eat. My recommendation for you guys is to go over here into this room and just immediately start challenging her. She's obviously going to be pretty tough to kill considering that she has such a large amount of health, but her mythic burst is really worth it, and so is her medallion. And once you guys eliminate Emma Frost, you got to get her medallion, get her burst, get her fizz, and then rotate on the way. Once again, it does give you wall hacks onto everybody in the area. It pings enemy players and enemy AI. And once you guys are past that point, you don't really need anything else from this POI if you guys are max mats and you also have a bunch of really good loot. You guys can just easily rotate out of here, which is what I like most about it, is its proximity to the land. Other mythic POIs are on the land. This one kind of has a moat around it that kind of prevents people from W keying you afterwards. And if people are trying to third party you, you kind of have like a moat between you and them. It's tough to get on it and it's tough to get off. If you're landing there, it's easier to get off once you have really good loot. And of course, guys, once you rotate out of there, you're going to have really good loot, you're going to be set, but the important part is landing at the same spot and playing as a duo throughout the whole POI, making sure you survive. Anyways, guys, that is the video on the top 5 best duo drop spots in Chapter 5 Season 4. If you guys enjoyed, please let me know in the comments down below. I'm very pumped for the season. I hope you guys are as well. But that is about it for this video, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye, guys.